FBA fees climbing, I'm losing my grip. Storage costs rising, they'll never let me skip. Refunds I'm eating, returns pile up too. Oh, Amazon, what else will you do? I look at my dashboard, my profits erased. My margins are gone, it's a slap in the face. Prime Day's a promise, but it's such a race. How much will I make if I'm replaced? It's a cruel, cruel number. Fees keep climbing, profits torn asunder. Oh, it's cruel, the sellers wonder how to survive when the margins go under. It's a cruel, cruel number. Every month it's something new to plunder. Oh, it's cruel, it's no wonder we're stuck in this game. The algorithm's thunder.
Yo, Amazon's back, and they got a new scheme. Reimbursement slashed, it's every seller's dream. They're digging deep, taking more from the pot. Let's break it all down, expose what they got. March 25, it's a policy drop. They say manufacturing costs, but we know it's a flop. Give us your cogs, they're demanding the price. But if you don't, they'll estimate nice. Nice for them, not for you. Watch your payout shrink. The comprehensive evil is a corporate wing. Lost in the warehouse, damaged on the floor. Now they pay you pennies, not a cent more. Fees on the rise, profits on the run. They don't lift a finger, but they pocket the fun. We're fair! They shout while they cut our shares. Amazon math, man, it's full of errors. Fees, taking our dough. They're stacking the deck, and it's sellers who owe. Reimbursement? Nah, they're taking us down, but we're still here, we don't mess around. Fees, straight to the top. Amazon's game, it'll never stop. Margins tight, but we keep the grind. Sellers unite, we're one of a kind.
I try to sell my product on Amazon, thought it'd be a breeze. But little did I know I'd be stuck with seller support disease. They never seem to solve my problems, just give me the runaround. I'm tired of waiting on hold. My patience is wearing thin, I'll never be found. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck. Can't get no satisfaction. I'm out of luck, out of luck, out of luck. You don't care about my business, just trying to make a buck. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck.
This one's for the sellers on the grind, getting left on red, wasting all their time. I hit up support, got an auto reply. Thanks for your patience, man, I wanna cry. Inventory lost, my margins are toast. Reps playing tag like the Casper the Ghost. They pass me around, it's a never-ending game. Nobody takes action, everybody shifts blame. My ASINs down, I'm out of the race. They say they'll escalate, yo, what a disgrace. Amazon seller support, you're breaking my heart. No answers, no fixes, just tearing me apart. Hours in the queue, stuck in the dark. Amazon seller support, you're missing the mark.
Amazon game plan, that is the key. Seller central dashboard, that's where I be. Analyze the funnel, see what we lack, then we optimize. Sellers know it's a fact. I get it poppin', you know that it's lit. Climbing the rankings, ain't no room to quit. I check the data, they notice the stats. I keep the method, that's how you adapt. Metrics are showing, you know it's our cap. Amazon sellers, it's time to react. I'm about that action, I do this with passion. I got them like, whoa, what is this? Huh, whoa.
I don't know, dude. I think everybody's just buying stuff based on reviews and badges or whatever. They don't even know who we are. These customers don't even know the name of my brand. But they keep clicking add to cart like it's part of the plan. They see that Amazon badge and think it's all grand. But yo, they don't even know the name of my brand.
Click, scroll, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Dials, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell a day. Now listen up, I'm Steven Pope, Amazon guru, I'll help you cope. Step 1, get that trademark stamped. Without brand registry, your Amazon cramped. Head to Seller Central, log in quick. Manage stores tab, yeah, that's the trick. Upload your logo, flex that style. You're about to make Jeff Bezos smile. Where pick a template, marquee, or grid. Drop your tiles like a branding whiz. Hero image, big and bold. This store's gonna glitter like digital gold. Flex, grow, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell today. Yo. In the trenches of the Amazon game, trying to survive while it's driving me insane. Nobody warns you, they just claim it's passive income. Nah, it's pain. I'm sitting at a birthday, laughing, chilling, next to a newbie Amazon seller spilling. She's like, Prime so smooth, it's a killer. Then tried to sell, now she's stuck in a thriller. Finding products, yeah, that's the first grind. Scrolling Alibaba, losing my mind. Sample suck, manufacturers decline. I'm like, dang, how's anyone doing this fine? Ship it in, pay for the bubble wrap, but they ship glass bottles in padded crap. Now I got hot sauce leaks, refund stack, customers pissed. Man, I'm under attack. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat. Trademark wars, brand registries a scam. They banned my brand, now I'm in a jam. Listings yanked, products ranked and tanked. Lost dogs in the catalog, my account shanked. Now let's talk ads, it's a rabbit hole. 1,000 hours deep, man, it's taking my soul. Weekly negations, bulk sheets for control. Excel's my new weapon, but it's taking its toll. SEO's no joke, keywords in the game. All text, A+ content, playing insane. Lifestyle shots, avatars for fame, but the CTR's low, all products look the same. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, from SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat.
Let's go to Max School. To Max School. Class is now in session with Professor Pope. They got the SOP, cause Professor Pope wrote the recipe. Helping Amazon sellers grow sales exponentially. Amazon's a jungle, but we map the strategy. Brand strategist playbook, it's a guide to victory. Troubleshooting catalog, you know we got the answer key. Boosting all your rankings, turning sales into a legacy. SOB so deep, you think we studied at Max School. Every step we follow leads to growth, yeah, it's a golden rule. Stuck on keywords, we'll find the ones that work the best. Using Helium-10, strike distance keywords pass the test. Incremental indexing ensures the listing set to rise. From the backend to the bullets, optimization hits the sky. Brand store creation, yeah, we make it shine and flow. A+ content design makes conversions overflow. Need your images on point, best practices in the plan. All text and photo rules ensure your visuals command. SEO meets PPC, it's balanced, every step aligned. We'll construct the MKLs that drive rankings over time. Budget caps and bid adjustments, no more wasted spending. Segmentation builds campaigns that sellers can defend. Got a hijacker, no problem, we'll file to take them down. Review requests in action, 5-star ratings come around. Flat file updates, market share reports, it's all in reach. Professor Pope wrote the SOP so sellers learn and teach.
Meanwhile, my Amazon guys on the case, fixing up my problems at lightning pace. Ticket escalations, Mag's the boss. Even Amazon says we'll take the loss. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. They're supposed to be the pros, but they can't decode policies and tools from their own damn road. I'm paying fees, yet they bring me stress. But Mag turns my chaos into pure success. Seller support reps, they throwing shade, but then admit, yo, Mag will get you paid. Third-party agency taking the throne while Amazon fumbles in their own damn zone. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. So here's the truth. Let's keep it real. Mag's the team with the pro-level skill. Amazon sellers, you know the vibe when support says call Mag. They'll give you peace of mind. Amazon seller support, you can suck my image stack. Sucking is all you're good at anyway. Bezos, hit me up if you want to sell seller support. I'm buying. There's a Jace. Peace.
All right, we're going to get started. It is the last week. I'm just looking at my calendar over there. It's the last week of October. It's hard to believe. That means we are less than a month. Well, actually, no, actually today is 1 month to the day to Black Friday. So clock's ticking, guys. So just curious, are your PPC campaigns right now something to be excited about, or are they something to be frightened about now that we also have Halloween right around the corner? My name is Kevin Sanderson from My Amazon Guy. I am the marketing and partnerships guy. I made that into one word. And I'm going to be talking about all things PPC today. I've been, in addition to working here at MAG, I also have been a seller myself for over 10 years, advertising for almost 10 years. I dabbled in retail arbitrage for a little bit, for a few months before I took the plunge into brand management, having my own brand. So I'm here to answer your questions. Drop them into the chat. It doesn't matter where you are located, whether you are on Facebook, LinkedIn. I always cheat and look because I've got a little list up there. But we've got Facebook, we've got LinkedIn, we've got YouTube, we've got Twitch. We've got X now. I didn't think we had X on the stream before. So anybody on X, hello. Super excited to have you here. Abanoob, thank you for being here. We're excited to have you here. So again, any questions you have, drop them into the chat. We'll be answering your questions in this Ask Me Anything about pay-per-click advertising, how to drive more sales, how to do it for the holiday season, how to take that momentum into the new year, how to launch your products, how to optimize your campaigns, all of that fun stuff. We're here to answer your questions. And so we also, it looks like we have Rosie Nava. Hopefully I said that okay. Anyway, folks, drop your question into the chat. And one thing I just want to say there is this is going to operate just like it was maybe if you were in high school or in college, and you remember probably the teachers sometimes saying, does anybody have a question? And then did everybody's hands go up? No. Usually you probably remember this, and probably even in meetings, if you're ever in the corporate world, where somebody says like, hey, anybody have a question? Everyone's kind of like looking around. Does anyone else have a question? I don't want to be the first one to have a question. And then what ends up happening at the end, suddenly there will be a bunch of people asking questions because there's a momentum of it. What's different than your high school class, than when your English teacher says, does anyone have any questions, is the algorithm will send more people as the stream goes on, and the more questions we get just brings in more people who are going to ask more questions. So we generally will run out of time at the end of this and not be able to get to everyone's question. So if you want your question answered, best time to ask it is now, not at the end of the stream when we're running out of time and I got a long list of questions to get through. So I can be more thorough and give you a better answer now than I can at the end. So just my little spiel for anyone who's new here. Looks like we've got Antanas Vernakis, or Vernakis. So is that a Greek name? Cool name. I just wish I could pronounce it better. So anyway, super excited to have everybody here. I'm just curious about this. Today, as it stands, describe your PPC campaigns. How should I do this in a way that's going to be fun? Describe your PPC campaigns using an emoji. So describe your PPC campaigns using an emoji, creativity counts, and maybe even a little bit of participation mixed in with it. So just describe your PPC campaigns using an emoji, one or two. It's fine, because sometimes you want to, put a cat and a fish together. Just say that you've been catfished, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. But we'll get into all of your stuff here in just a moment. So looks like Abanoob. I don't even know what that is. When I ask people to do this, I really should probably wear like my reading glasses. I don't even know that they're nearby because I can barely see what that is. But it does look creative. It looks like kind of Halloween-y, like a purple, angry, sad face, something like that. So curious what your thought process was on that one. Also similar face. So Abanoob is definitely participating. So if you have I know we've got lots of people here on the stream who probably are like, oh, I don't know. It's all in good fun. No one's going to ask you to post a screenshot of your campaigns. We're just going to have a little fun and asking for an emoji. So LinkedIn user gives the muscle flexing emoji. So things must be going strong. So I'm excited about that for you, LinkedIn user. Wish I knew your name. And then we have Abanoob says, still struggling. Yeah, I get it. So you were on the stream. You've been a regular on the stream. So thank you and welcome back. So we'll get into your question because I just see that you did drop in a question. We'll see if any of the stuff we recommended before is having a difference in your campaigns. So again, folks, if you have any questions, drop them into the chat. Last call for describing your PPC campaigns using an emoji. Abanoob and LinkedIn user, you'll just have to tell us you're the LinkedIn user. The two of you, since you were the first two to participate in this, go ahead and email podcast@myamazonguy.com and you will get a free mag school course valued at $100. Again, podcast, singular, no S on the end, podcast@myamazonguy.com. And our team will get you hooked up with a coupon code. And Abanoob, who comes like all the time, is always participating. So Abanoob, shout out to you for doing that. I don't even know if you might already have all our mag school courses because I've given you so many, excuse me, so many of the coupon codes along the way. So remember, folks, when we say participate, we highly recommend participating. So, all right, let's get into some questions that came in. Sorry, it's Rosina. I guess maybe correcting my pronunciation. Rosina with a VA. Oh, with a VA. Rovina? Is that how you'd say it, with a VA? Or that you have a VA? Oh, Rosina with VA in the end. Now I get it. I'm a little slow today. Anyway, so sorry, it's Rosina with a VA on the end. When I run PPC to my new launch with no reviews, I get bombarded with competition targeting my ASINs. How to counter that? So some of that just is what it is. And it's not that the competition is like suddenly figured out like, oh, there's new competition. Let me target the ASIN. You got to think, we got a big brother here. The big brother is Amazon. And Amazon cares about, I would say one thing. It's not true. Amazon cares about filling, let me phrase this differently. Amazon highly values making sure that all available impressions are advertised on. So when you think about that, when you go to the page and on your listing, there's a whole bunch of spots for ads. They're going to find a way to fill those, whether it be with people's auto campaigns that they're running, or they have a variety of different targets that you can use in product targeting, manual campaigns, where you're either targeting specific products, then you can find one similar to that one, or you can do like categories of products. So in all that, that's how they're finding you. So the way to counter it is you can't advertise the ASIN on itself, but you can advertise if you have like, let's say you have 3 ASINs, and I'm using 2 hands intentionally here. So let's say you have your listing and then you have your other 2 products that aren't the same listing. As long as they're not children under the same parentage, you could advertise these 2 products on your other listing, both, sponsored products, sponsored display. And then that would at least take up some of the real estate, but you're still going to have people show up. And the suggestion from a lot of people is, if you're trying to take a defensive standpoint, is bid heavily on these 2 products campaigns onto this ASIN. Because what you're trying to do is outbid people so that if anything, you're just showing up more. And if someone clicks, they're already interested in the one product. So they should theoretically convert pretty well because they were already kind of bought into your one product. Now they're like, oh, well, this brand's interesting. And they click on your other product. Theoretically, they would be high to convert. And as long as you have the margins to do that, I would suggest it. So, and I know sometimes on new launches, it can be kind of daunting with all the stuff that's going on. So hopefully that answer helped you there. And actually, Rosina, I said that correct now. Email podcast@myamazonguy.com, and we will get you hooked up for a free mag school course valued at $100 since you were the first person to ask a question. So thank you for that. And thank you for being here. Jay Wilcox says, is a recording available of the presentation? Have to leave early. So yeah, absolutely. So these presentations that are live on YouTube and, well, in your case, LinkedIn, they don't go anywhere. So LinkedIn can be harder to find them, but if you go to youtube.com/myamazonguy and you just click on the live, there's like videos, shorts, whatever the tabs are on our homepage on YouTube. You just click on the lives tab and it'll take you to the previous lives that we've had, and you can just go and find the recording. In fact, it's already available. There could be people watching the beginning of this, the way YouTube does it. So I would suggest that, because unfortunately, LinkedIn, I don't think is as good of a user interface to find things like that. It's just all of our posts, and we put out lots of posts, multiple posts a day on the My Amazon Guy LinkedIn page. So I would suggest going over to YouTube, subscribe to us on YouTube as well, and then you can find the recording there. All right. So next up, we have Abanoob says, I want another analysis for my listing in the US market. I still have less sales than my competitor and don't know what is the issue, although spending a lot on PPC with many clicks with 1 or 2 sales a day. Excuse me. Yeah, so let's go ahead and pull that one on up. So I'm going to go to amazon.com/TP/ just typing it in there. B0D is in dog. GB 5PXT1. Got my keyboard underneath the computer. All right, so bringing that bad boy on up. All right, okay, good. All right, I think you've made some good changes. So let me take a look. Share my screen so everybody sees what I'm looking at. All right, you did improve the main image. I like that the main image, compared to what I remember it being before, was that like you couldn't really see the planter itself. It was kind of hiding with this behind it. I like that you added a Halloween gift. I'm going to be a little nitpicky here. This almost looks like the L and the U kind of like merged together. So that might be kind of off-putting, because like it's a skull planter. I might suggest putting skull planter on the front, and I would capitalize the S and the P and separate the L's from the U, SKULL planter. I would put skull planter here. I might put Halloween gift here, and I might make Halloween orange. Although red, I guess, is fitting too. That would be my quick suggestion. And then let me take this off so we can better see. And then the brand name, you might just put the brand over here. And maybe have like skull planter more here. And maybe a picture of the, I don't know if a picture of the product is going to help you, but maybe some sort of, let's take a look at some of your other, you could put maybe the uses of it in that real estate here, because we've got to think this is the most important real estate, I would say, in this box, is this front part. And this is kind of more of a reminder, whereas skull planner, I would put more here. And then I would maybe move your logo out of the way, because the logo, it's not like you have a lot of brand recognition. And I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just most people don't know that brand name. So I would move your logo more over here, have maybe skull planner here, and then say, you know, great for, and then in smaller text, great, not too small text, still able to be seen, but maybe a couple points smaller than skull planner. And then great for, you know, Gothic candle holder, or something. I wouldn't say Gothic brush holder, but maybe, or maybe you could say like Gothic themed bullet point candle holder, brush holder, planter, something like that. So at least you can kind of like sell some of the other things that it is here. Although I'm curious, like one thing you might want to do too, take a look both in search query performance report and in your search term report. What are people searching for? And what are you not making great conversions on, or not, or well, that, and what are you not getting a lot of clicks on? Like, what do you have a lower click-through rate than your others for? And maybe those are things that if they're relevant, maybe you might have those be the bullet points you put on. When I say bullet points, I mean, they have to be like 3 words, very concise, because people aren't like spending a lot of time reading it. I mean, you did a good job of keeping it all concise here, but my gut feeling is you have more of a click-through problem than a conversion problem. And I'm also curious too, how has, since you changed the image from when we talked about it last week, how has your click-through rates changed? Has your click-through rate gone up? If your click-through rate has gone up, then you know that then you have more of a conversion problem to focus on. But if you don't, if your click-through rate hasn't gone up, you need to work on click-through rate. And I would also take a look at maybe purging out some keywords that you're targeting if they're not getting a good click-through rate as well, because that might also be a positive signal to the algorithm that people are clicking on your product. So a couple things to think about. Hopefully that's helpful to you. All right, let's get to the next question, and we'll take this out of the stream. All right, so next up we have Kirill is joining us from LinkedIn. What are the methods you use to boost organic traffic in addition to advertising? Yes, great question. I would highly recommend, and I'm going to pull it up here real quick, myamazonguy.com. So if you go to myamazonguy.com, and this is not a shill question. This is a question. This is a good question, but just so everybody knows, he didn't set me up on this. I would go to myamazonguy.com, and I would go to if you go to our services, Amazon SEO. Don't worry about if you want to work with us, great. If not, there's still great content here. So we have a 4-phase approach. Making sure you have the right keywords, and we talk a little bit about each of these. What our phases are. Go through each of the 4 phases, and we have articles on each of the 4. So these are all things you should focus on. And then the main thing at the end of the day, even beyond that, is improve your main image. So I know that we're talking about advertising, and I talked about main image in the last question that we answered. It's because it's that important. Your main image is the number one way to drive sales on Amazon. It's what we have found at Mag. And if you think about it, let's go back to Amazon. And you type in, who knows? let's look up spooky jar. They suggest, oh, never mind. I'm not sharing my screen yet. So let's say we type spooky jar just because that was the suggested search based on what I was just on. So you can see wildly different types of products. Although our friend who is having trouble showing up is showing up on page 1 for spooky jar. So hopefully you're getting some keywords there. So you got to think about this. Like if you're the customer and you're like, okay, now this is probably against terms of service. It's so blatant. Whereas this one here, like they're using good usage of this space here and the box. Although I'm going to pretty much guarantee this size bottle does not come in this size box, but does anyone care? Probably not. And then they've got kind of showing, I guess those are stickers or affirmation cards. I don't even know what that means. I'm definitely not I'm not the target audience, but apparently that's something that must show up and must be relevant to people looking at spooky jar. But you can see like, okay, it's got like, I would probably include more words that people could actually read on the jar and on the packaging, but they did a good job at least of kind of presenting it. So at least if anything, what draws your eye? Does it draw your eye and does it get you to reminded that that is the product that you searched for? Now, spooky jar was a suggested keyword Amazon gave me when I put my, whatchamacallit, my mouse there. But as I'm scrolling down, like, look at this one here. Like you kind of have to look very closely to see like, oh, okay, it's spooky because there's Halloween characters, like as the handles, like you can kind of see it. And then here, that doesn't even look relevant. I like this positive Grim Reaper jar better than I like this one. They're probably two different brands. Looks almost like the same thing. Or maybe it is different. I don't know. But you can see, like, put yourself in the customer's shoes. Now, this probably won't be able to get away with it long term, but actually the merchandising of it is great. This one here, a good box. It draws your eye. This one looks too Christmassy. Actually, it is a Christmas magic blue jars vase statue. Okay, so at least it's relevant to Christmas. It just happens to be showing up in spooky. So just put yourself in the shoes of the customer. Look up your main keywords. What comes up? Now, in this case, it's wildly different. So using another one that I like to use, let's look up garlic press. So this one is a very commoditized product. Where it's really, you know, a handled garlic press or a smasher dealie. And so if I'm looking at this and I'm the customer, you know, this brand here, OXO, is making sales basically probably because they're a brand. Like they're probably sending email traffic to it. They probably have a list. They probably advertise all over the place. I don't even know if there's any Bed Bath and Beyond around anymore, but I know they're in places like that, and they're in places like Target. Like their OXO is a big brand. Whereas this one here, I'm amazed that they've sold 1,000 in the last month, but like it doesn't really remind you what it is, you know. Whereas like here you can see the garlic, and they've got like the other things that it comes with. They've got color swatches, which that may or may not work, but like this one, I guess they're at least trying to put in the benefits. Oh, they've got 2,000 a month. And that's a brand you've never heard of. They want you to know it's stainless steel because they have this little tag that they added on, which that one's a little gray. It's harder to get away with those type of tags when they don't look natural. But you can see like the merchandising of it. You can probably, as I was scrolling through, your eye probably, like, for example, these all look the same. But if you were the customer, take away the prices. Would you click on this one or one of these two? Probably one of these two. Like this has a better picture. it has the garlic in it. I like the green here, kind of draws your eye, and it's got the other pieces with it. This one, it's got the other pieces with it too, but again, ignoring price. But this one is going to be more likely to draw your eye, which is probably why they're able to get twice as many sales for literally, I think, almost the same product. Maybe it is slightly different here. I don't know if this stainless steel part is on the other side. But the fact that like this one here is selling for more expensive and they're getting twice the sales according to Amazon, 6,000 units versus 3,000 units, could be part of that. So just something to keep in mind. So always keep in mind, how can I improve my main image? So if you're asking about SEO, go to myamazonguy.com, look at our SEO content, follow that as your playbook. And then from there, look at your main keywords and ask a friend to do the same thing too. Which one? Ask someone you kind of know who doesn't know what your product is, and just say, scroll through, show me which ones would you click on, or ask them, click on 5 that you like. That's a good one too. That way they actually have to click on them, so you get to see which ones they clicked on. And don't take offense if they don't click yours. Just figure out what are the other ones doing that you aren't doing, and that might be another way to improve it. So, all right, next up. We answered Kirill's question. OX Shalish says, I'm launching a product with very, very low quantity of units, about 30 at around $150 price point. Okay, so you got a decent sized price point. How do I go about PPC for this? Can't afford to spend much on ads or lose profitability. Okay, so I'm curious, what are your margins on a $150 product? Like, did you spend $100 on this product? Did you spend $60 on the product? And then what are your fees? Like that's part of it. So I would say, with all that caveat, do you have at least 40% margins to play with? Now the challenge you're probably thinking of, if you're starting at 30, you want to buy another 30 or another 60 or another 50 or another 100 once you start getting some traction. So for PPC, if you have a low budget, I would focus on very narrow, laser focused long tail keywords. Like, don't go after the big keywords just because there's a lot of search volume. Go after relevancy, that this product is extremely relevant to your product, or this keyword's very relevant to your product, and not just like, oh, there's a ton of available, and all the other people are advertising on it too. So if you want to have the best possible outcomes with ACOS and profitability, and you're not so worried about expansion, I would say you want to be niche. The riches are in the niches, not the niches. Probably a controversial statement. You want to be very niche specific to your product and the keywords that have very semantically relevant or semantic relevancy to your product. And those would be the ones you really want to focus on before you start expanding out into other keywords. One example I like to give is dry erase markers. If you go on Amazon and you look up markers, there's probably a ton of search volume. And there's very few dry erase markers on page 1. It's mostly like Crayola or Crayola style school markers or crafting markers. There's not a lot of this type of marker. So when people say markers, they don't necessarily mean dry erase markers. When they say dry erase markers, you don't see all those other markers because they're probably not looking for craft markers if they type dry erase markers. If you have a set of blue dry erase markers, you're probably not going to do as well as you would on blue dry erase markers or blue dry erase marker set. So think of it from that standpoint. Like, where are you in terms of what is the markers, so to speak, the really broad keyword for your product? And then what is dry erase markers? What is blue dry erase markers? What are those more specific keywords that you can go after? And I would focus there if you have a limited budget. And because at $150 price point, just know you generally don't have a great conversion rate. Like a lot of times gurus will talk about like, oh, you want a 10% conversion rate, which is not a bad rule of thumb. But at a $150 product, people are doing a little more searching around and researching. So that means you have a lot more people who are just including you as part of their research phase. So in addition to that, I would also run maybe some brand tailored promotions. And then also check out on this channel, we have some content that Noah put out about Amazon Marketing Cloud and some of the audiences you can use. And so you can use people that have used people. You can retarget people that have been on your listing. So you want to do that with sponsored display as well as with some Amazon Marketing Cloud, whatchamacallit, some traffic, some audiences. That audience is the word I was looking for. So you want to use some of those audiences to retarget those people because that way they're showing interest. $150 product generally takes more mental bandwidth than something that costs $20. It's like, it's $20. It looks like what I need. I just add it to the cart. A lot of people at $150 are thinking about it more. And so you want to put it back in front of them because they may not do it all in one session. So you may have to chase them around Amazon or even the internet, which you can do with sponsored display. All right. Next up. Oh, that was that question. Abanoob said, I had a lot of MAG courses and finished them all. Been very useful to me. Well, thank you for that. Anyone who wants a MAG school course, you go to mag-school.com, and you can sign up there. All right. And if anyone else has questions, drop them into the chat. I still have a lot of questions to get to, but I will be able to get probably to most of them. So if you put your question in now, there's a good chance I will get to it by the end. Whereas if you wait till the end, there's a good chance I won't be able to get to it. So I want to be able to get to your question. Next up, if you go to, what was it? Antanas says, do you do product photography or product video services? So we don't do physically like with the lens. So we do a lot of design services with your existing images. We can create videos with your existing images. Fast photography is who we recommend. So if you go to myamazonguy.com, let me bring it back up. So if you go to myamazonguy.com, and we have it here. No, actually, if you go down to the bottom and you click on recommended third-party services, it's this one here, fast photography. And if you're like, how did you get to that? You could just go to myamazonguy.com/3RD. Oops, without the other slash. And then that'll take you to this page. So myamazonguy.com/3RD. And that'll take you to our recommended third-party services page. And we recommend fast product photography services. We've been recommending them for years. We've always had good feedback. They do good work. So we suggest working with them. And then we can always, work on the main image itself or your A+ content or your listing stack once you have the images. But they can at least get the pictures taken for you with the lens. So we're not lens people here. We're SEO and PPC and all that fun stuff. We're more the listing people. All right. Vidushi says self-targeting campaigns work the best. Good. Yes. Oh, this is probably in regard to the person who was talking about like the defensive strategy. So yeah, we use the example of if you have 3 products, you take, your one listing and you have the other two products that are advertising to that listing in a product targeting campaign. And that works well. And then Vidushi says, how to keep up with higher CPCs during holiday season. So, great question. Personally, I have found my own rhythm over the holidays. I will generally lower my bids going into Black Friday. I will find that people are starting to Christmas shop now. That does not mean they're buying. They're just starting their Christmas shopping now. I've already seen an uptick in my PPC. So I'm going to start decreasing those bids a little bit where it makes sense. But basically, you're going to have a lot of people window shopping. Now, here's the thing. People that click on your link today might put it into a list or an add to cart, save for later, something like that. Some mechanism that Amazon gives them to come back to that product. And then they buy it on December 17th. That just happens every year. So there's a lot of people who maybe start looking, but they don't buy until closer in. And so your ACOS might be better, or is generally going to be better in the mid-December than it is like the month of November. And that's just part of it. So like Thanksgiving is the 27th. So Black Friday is the 28th of November. I say it like we're in November. We're practically in November. So just know that there's a little bit of a cycle. And then so I tend to find that not only are the people that bought now or clicked now, not bought now, click now will buy later in December. And not all cases, but a good chunk will. And that won't reflect on your ad reports. Then, because I mean, we're talking about in some cases 6-7 weeks until they actually buy. Then you're going to have people who they are like, I just need to buy it. Like there's no thinking. It's just do. It's like Yoda when he said, "There is no try, only do." There's no search, only buy, and that happens in mid to late December as that window starts to close on the ability to have your products delivered in time for Christmas. And so for some people, they might even be traveling. So whenever they're traveling, they want to bring the gifts with them if they're driving, for example, or even in some cases if they're flying. So they want it delivered to them before they travel. So that extends it back a little bit more. So that means usually in a lot of cases, your best conversions are going to happen actually in mid-December. So even with higher CPCs, you can actually do better because they're not in window shopping mode. They're not in researching ideas. What will little Johnny like? They're like, little Johnny wants this and I need to buy it or he's going to be disappointed. Like that's kind of the mindset they're going through. Or, you know, someone who's like wanting to buy something for their spouse and like, oh my God, I got to buy it now. So that time frame in mid-December, much better conversions, like people are more motivated. So that was a long roundabout way of saying it's going to start not so good in November. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, depending on your product and how deal hungry people are, you may or may not do all that well, depending on if you are running deals. Then in December, it will, even if you're spending more, you could actually be making more because oftentimes people are procrastinators. A lot of people are. I am. I mean, I run digital events because I like it running digital events because it forces me into a schedule. I like having some sort of like, you know, like, oh, it's on the calendar, I better do it. So like, for example, Christmas, same day every year. You know, so that you just got to realize the cycle and then what's going to happen. And then you have the cycle on the back end of Christmas of higher traffic than normal. That week after Christmas is usually pretty good because people have gift cards that they're using. But there's also a lot of people that just, they went on there to make a return and they're just clicking around. So you also want to start lowering your bids once you get to about the 22nd, because now that window for delivery is closing for a lot of people, as well as, you're going to start having the window shoppers. What do I do with my gift card? What do I do with whatever? So that's just par for the course. All right. Next question, Maxathan. How should I approach campaigns for low quality terms around 30 to 40 per month with low margins? The cost is $29 and the selling price is $56. Okay. So I'm assuming you're telling me the cost of the product is $29. So that means you're spending more than 50% on the product itself. So if Amazon is taking out their, for rough math, 33%, let's just say. So what is 33% of 56? There's the actual calculator. All right, so 56 divided by 3 is 33%. So that means you're probably spending $18, $19, I'm guessing, on Amazon's 15%, assuming you're not in automotive, which is 8%, but assuming you're in most categories, 15%. And your FBA fees, let's just assume it's around $18. So 18 plus 29, that's 47. And I didn't even talk about what it costs to get in there. So you're shipping it to Amazon. I don't know if that's included in your cost of $29. And then the inbound placement fee, which you may very well be paying for. I don't know 100% if you have enough product that you can send in like 5 cases at a time, which oftentimes we'll get around it. But for me in Florida, I find sending in 5 cases of a product doesn't actually help me, because it's like they want to send 2 of them to California and that shipping is expensive. So 29 plus my 18 is 47 divided by 56. So without counting some of these other, like, storage fees are super high because they want you to have it in now. They want you to have it in a month ago. October, November, December, all are Q4 storage, which you'll pay later. So that means my break-even margin is 16% without even factoring in PPC, inventory fees, whatever. So you have very low margins. So it says low quantity items, 30 to 40 units per month. So you're doing about 1 a day, 1 or 1.5 a day. Can you raise your price? Like, you're so low. Like, can you go to 65? Can you give yourself a little breathing room? Because right now, like, I have trouble believing you're going to do any campaigns for 16%. Now, are you running ads now? If you're not running ads, that might help you both with the ads and get more organic impressions. So that could be beneficial, just right there. But like I was saying before to someone, be super, super, super laser focused on longer tail keywords, not short phrases. Longer tail. Don't worry about search volume. Worry about relevancy. And is this, when people search for this, are they looking for a product like mine? Not kind of around it, but like the bullseye, not the outer bullseye, the inner bullseye. You want the inner bullseye keywords that are extremely relevant, and go after those. That's my 2 cents. But with that, good luck. All right. Jordan De Jesus, I believe is how you'd say that. How would you suggest remaking my main image and my A+ content? All right, let's take a look at this one. So B0F /DP/B0F. That's the 0. I hate that the O and the 0 are right next to each other in the keyboard. Random complaint. But anyway, I digress. 6. 6'7". Anyone who has younger kids, especially boys, probably understands 6'7" apparently is like a joke right now. So if anyone who relates to 6'7", I must have missed something here. So B0F 6'7", 6. Oh, I left out the 6. No, stop that. All right, looks like I got it. Nope. 6J. B0F 676. Oh, TJL. Man, I'm not good at typing today. And I still am getting the dog. All right. Is this in the US marketplace or somewhere else? Because if it's in like the UK, well, just for fun, let's type .co.uk. Nope. I got the dogs there. Sorry. I can't find it. I'm working on getting more lifestyle images, more infographics. Yeah. Sorry. Unfortunately, I couldn't pull it up. LinkedIn user should have a brand store. If the question is, should I have a brand store? Why not? It's another piece of real estate for people who are interested in your brand. They can check out your brand and see what you're all about. And, it's kind of your landing page on Amazon. Definitely would recommend. Now, if you have one product, maybe you don't quite need it just yet. But if you have a handful of products and they're relevant to each other, it's another way to get people to potentially buy multiples. So go for it. All right. Again, if you have questions, drop them into the chats. We're getting here to the end. I'm going to do my best to get to them. Deepak says the lead time for my product is really long. 5 months. Is going the AWD way really better than 3PLs for excess inventory from a cost point for large products, 11 inch by 8 inches in packaging. So I have mixed feelings on AWD. I try to do AWD sometimes and they just, sorry, we don't have room for you. There's no room at the inn. So if you have a 5-month lead time and you're talking about getting here, depends. So like maybe let's say in March, you might be doing better. So if you think about it, like right now, everybody's trying to get stuff in for the holidays. Then you have people trying to get stuff in before Chinese New Year. And then stuff ships before Chinese New Year, which I don't know the exact date, but it's usually like late January, early February. And the factories are closed for like a month in China. And that's a good percentage of the products. So there's a rush, when stuff gets to leave the ports in time for Chinese New Year, leave the factory, then leave the ports before everyone on the docks leaves and can't be found for a month. So call that, let's just say late January. Then a month later, people are shipping in their product to Amazon because it took about a month to get to the US on a boat and through customs and whatnot. And then they're shipping it into Amazon. And then a month later, there's another push because everything just kind of follows through the cycle of, the stuff they couldn't finish before Black Friday, before Chinese New Year, they shipped out, when they got back to the factory, then they started doing a bunch of orders. So there's a lot of people trying to get stuff in between now and then let's say May. That tends to be really big. So there's a little bit of a lull in between, like let's say May, June, July, August, and then into September, it starts to fill up again. People preparing for Q4. So point being, they may or may not. And I'm just more speaking in general terms with Amazon, people sending stuff in, which AWD seems to follow that. And they push so many people into AWD the last couple of years. And now all of a sudden it's hard to get in. So I would just say, don't have an entire plan based on AWD because they might just be like, sorry, we're not going to do it. So you need to have both available. And maybe you want to have some in both places. So I'm assuming you're probably ordering a lot of product if you have a 5-month lead time. So that would be my thought process. Fazul Rahman says, can we do a packaging box in the main image, even if the inventory at FBA does not have a packaging box? Supplements brand. Generally speaking, I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to see if this is available. One of my favorite examples is Colgate toothpaste, and it wasn't available for a while. And I don't think it was because of the image. I think they were just out of stock. Let's look up toothpaste. Let me see if it's there. It's so blatant. But actually, I've bought it, so I'm going to go into... they want me to sign in. I don't feel like signing in. Anyway, the short answer is yes, you can. Just be cautious. But like, one of the most blatant examples is a first-party Colgate toothpaste set of 6. All they did was take 6 boxes of toothpaste, 3x2, shrink wrap it, send it to you. I bought it myself to validate it. It's a great deal. Maybe that's why they ran out. But they never got their listing taken down. The image was there forever. Like for like at least a couple years, it was this, because we were able to use this as an example. It just doesn't show up in search right now. And I think it's just because they probably ran out of stock. I mean, it was doing like 30, 40,000 units a month or something crazy. And it was Amazon doing it. And it was literally looked like a moving box that they got in Canva. They just put the Colgate logo on it, and it says pack of 6. Pack of, and then a big number 6. You do not get the box. And it had like 4.8 stars. Nobody was complaining about no one got, bent out of shape because it didn't come in a box. It just came in shrink wrap packaging. They got what they want. They got a set of 6. They met the needs they wanted. It's just don't do anything that might trick people. If it looks like, packaging is part of the experience, be cautious with that. But if it's just a simple, like adding in like a phrase on the packaging, even if it doesn't come in the packaging, you oftentimes can get away with that. And worst case scenario, just re-upload the other image. Thoughts on Pinterest for driving traffic during launches? I don't hear people talk about Pinterest as much as they used to. Pinterest, the problem is you get a lot of impressions. People don't really click on Pinterest. Is just to look at stuff. And I don't even hear people talk about looking on Pinterest as much as they used to. And funny, I will see more ads for Pinterest, like not Pinterest ads to other products, but ads to, hey, come to Pinterest. And maybe it's because I had an account and I never go there. And so maybe that's why they're trying to draw me back. But I have a feeling, I think Pinterest is like Etsy. It's like kind of on the way out. So you could, I guess it doesn't hurt, if you can get some extra sales that way, why not? Like, don't turn them down, but I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it. Defense campaigns. Yeah, do it. We talked a little bit earlier about defense campaigns, advertise on the other products that you're going after or that you're selling. Rosina says, would you run sponsor brand video ads if it's a new brand and only one product? Yeah, why not? I mean, I would say sure. I mean, that's a good, especially if you have a product that's needs help explaining, video ads can be a good way to do that. So I would say yes. I don't see any downside other than budget. But even with that, like they've got AI tools now. So like, I would say do it. LinkedIn user says, is promoting the child ASINs necessary, since advertising one child ASIN effectively should bring it? Yeah, I would say it depends. Focus on 80-20. So for example, if you have black, red, white, and blue, and 90% of your sales are black, then your generic keywords, just go after the black one. And then if, like, let's say you've got red, white, and blue also, then maybe you could have color specific keywords and they have their own campaigns to those specific child ASINs, and maybe potentially do it that way, or whatever the parentage version is. I would potentially do it that way. And if your idea is to use budget efficiently, I think you're on the right track. But at the same time too, Amazon, a lot of times we joke about, it's us versus Amazon. This is one of those cases where it's like your goals and Amazon's goals are not running in tandem, but they do overlap. And this is part of that overlap. Amazon wants sales. So there is something to be said too of some keywords, just for whatever reason, the red one or the blue one performs better for that keyword, and Amazon will show it, and that will be bringing people to the listing. So there is a little bit of that. You could potentially, let the data speak for itself, and then you could just turn off the ads for the white and the red one if they're just not doing well at all, as opposed to just assuming the black version is going to always have the sales. All right, next up, Mohammed Abdullah says, "Hi, sir. Is this the first session of Amazon PPC?" No, we've been doing this for a while. So actually, if you go back on this channel, there's a whole bunch of past episodes you can go to. Actually, you're on LinkedIn. So I said that kind of funny. I see that you're on LinkedIn. I was mentioning earlier, LinkedIn is harder to go and find like past episodes. I would suggest going to youtube.com/my Amazon guy, click on the lives tab, and then you can look and see all of our previous lives that we've run. Eric's 3070 says, "Hello, Kevin." Hello, Eric's. How much does filling in generic keywords fields and product details help in terms of PPC? In other words, do they help organic sales a lot and therefore end up costing less than PPC? Okay. Anytime you give the algorithm more juice, so to speak, to understand your product, the better it will do in general, both SEO and PPC. Because at the end of the day, yes, it's an auction, but it's an auction based on how much money is Amazon going to get in the back end. So for every impression they show you, how much money are they going to make per impression? It's kind of, I think, how they're looking at it. Because if you have a calculator and you're like, I'm going to bid $100 on dry erase marker, chances are you're not even going to show up at all for dry erase marker because it's not relevant. But if you have something that's semi-relevant, you might show up. So at the end of the day, if the algorithm doesn't believe, because the algorithm has beliefs, but the algorithm doesn't think that it's going, however you phrase it with AI these days, if the algorithm isn't leaning towards you're going to make a potential sale, it's not going to show you for the keyword. So the more detail you give it in like the generic keywords field, the better, because those back-end search terms are going to help you. All right. 6-7, because I was talking about it, 6-7. Yes, the middle school girls who use that too. Yeah, it literally came out of nowhere. And so people are like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I don't understand. My wife's an art teacher in elementary school, and she's like, lately, I only realized 6-7 was a thing like 2 days ago, but like you get one of them to start 6-7, and like apparently like the whole class was just 6-7, 6-7. Like I don't even know what it means. Maybe it means something, and I'm being inappropriate. And if that's the case, I'm sorry, but it's like all the rage of the kids these days. Like two numbers. Like I don't get it, but maybe it's just because I'm older. Jordan says, "Thanks for the comments." Yeah, my pleasure. The Jack Leader says, "Can brands hit you with an IP complaint if you've got the necessary invoice from one of their distributors and the product's authentic?" Okay, got it. So this is, are you selling on their listing? So if their listing is gated, don't even try it. If you are selling any sort of name brand, make sure that if you've got the necessary invoice from one of their distributors. Yeah, sometimes brands, if you're selling third party, like not your brand, but like selling like on their listing, they can get territorial. But just make sure the distributor is actually a authorized distributor and not just someone who just, oh yeah, Scout's Honor, we're authorized, like that it's legit. But submit the invoices, and sometimes brands will just get defensive and shoot first and ask questions later. Confirmed last name is pronounced D. Gus, Jordan D. Gus. Well, thank you, Jordan D. Gus. The Jack Leader says, same question I just did. Weird that I'm getting the dog. Yeah, sorry about that. I was trying to take a look at your listing, and I don't think I was typing it wrong because I tried a couple times. And I tried .co.uk and .com. Rosina says, thank you for the free mag course. Tons of value and answers all the questions. My pleasure. Eric says, thanks for the generic keywords answer. How many characters are allowed for that? Each of the 5 fields. 250 bytes. As long as we're talking about the same field. Generally speaking, 250 bytes, not characters, which gets you a little bit more. So, and then Surendra Singh says, after a major sales event on Amazon where we see the baseline shift upwards and also the CPCs and ACOS shoot high, how do you control the ACOS post the sales period ends? When you say sales period, are you talking about like Prime Deal days? And that could also be the holidays. The holiday. It's kind of like I was saying before to someone. Oftentimes at the end of, let's say, the holiday season, you'll start lowering your bids. Same thing with, after Prime Deal days, lower your bids. You got to think as a general macro perspective, are people in buy now mode because the deal is about to go away? I better order this now if I want it in time for Christmas. If I want this Mother's Day gift to arrive, oh, I got, gardening supplies and it's gardening time. I better get it now. So yeah, Prime Deal days and holidays. So oftentimes we think that spike is going to last forever, and it never does. I used to convince myself, it's going to be like this all the time. Yeah, it's going to be like this. Just like on December 17th, it's going to be like this on January 17th. No, that's not true at all. And February 17th is oftentimes worse than January 17th. So it just depends. Whenever your season ends, then yeah, usually the gravy train ends too. Hi, I just discovered this channel. How often do you do these lives? I do these lives weekly on Tuesdays. Noah Wickham also does a more general Amazon live on Fridays at noon Eastern time. So you can check that out on Friday. So basically, generally speaking, at least twice a week, we have live streams. And then if you get on our email list, oftentimes, and follow us on social, we're oftentimes running private masterclass webinars as well, where we answer questions there. We teach on those as well. So all kinds of fun stuff we do. So we like to say here at MAG, at My Amazon Guy, that we are a education company that happens to be an agency. So we're here to help you out. So thank you everybody for coming on, and happy selling and happy Halloween.